chasing shine right deep inside you. When will you ever let it shine from within and cast all of your fears aside? You'll see the light. Until that day comes, be strong, we shall be there, always here beside you to make sure you're safe. But soon you'll realize that darkness and light lead to the hero's sacrifice, and side by side will bring you back to life.
Hello and welcome back to Kingdom Reviews. I'm your host, the Future Keybearer, and today we begin our look at Kingdom Hearts 2, released on the PS2 in 2005 in Japan and in 2006 everywhere else. So we start off like the first game with an artistic music video, this time set to the song Sanctuary. Which I kinda like better than Simple and Clean. Although I'm not sure if it's the better song or if I'm just burnt out on Simple and Clean, seeing as how it gets used a lot more frequently than Sanctuary. But what I'm sure that I like better is that instead of random nonsense that I'm sure is supposed to be symbolic, this music video serves as a recap of the previous game. Well, okay, the end of the first game and the very basics of Chain of Memories. Afterwards, we transition to Roxas and Xemnas' conversation in the Realm of Darkness, but with Roxas' audio cut out. Because if you played this game before 358, Roxas' identity is supposed to be this huge secret. After some flashbacks that make you wonder if your system is malfunctioning, we catch up where 358 left off with Roxas waking up in Twilight Town, going to hang out with Hayner, Pence, and Olette.
Man, doesn't that tick you off?
Yeah, that's just wrong.
Sounds like someone's commenting on YouTube. Actually, they're pissed off because the entire town seems to think that they've been stealing stuff.
We could find the real thieves. That would set the record straight.
Hey, that sounds fun.
Yeah, potentially be killed by dangerous criminals. That sounds like a blast. But before they can do that,
They're gone! Are gone! What?
and thus the players scratch their heads in confusion. By the way, want a fun time? Try playing Mad Libs with this scene.
They're gone!
Poops.
Are gone!
All our
Poops.
gone?
You can't say
Poops.
Why not?
But you do understand what I'm saying, right? Our
Poops.
are gone!
Stolen. And not just the
Poops.
word.
Poops.
They stole it too.
I'm so mature. After a brief tutorial that gets nothing done story-wise, the group run into a group of Final Fantasy characters, including Vivi, Rai, Fu, and Cypher.
You can give us back the
Poops.
now.
Okay, I've never actually played Final Fantasy VIII, but I'm pretty sure that Leon and Cypher gave each other their respective face scars. I don't have a problem with the reasoning being different here, if it is. I just want to know. And because these guys are assholes, it's time to teach them a lesson. Roxas goes for one of 3 bats. And before you put too much thought in your choice, it only boosts one of your stats by 1. After fighting Cypher, the friend of the winner tries to take a picture, but the camera gets swiped by a strange creature. And Roxas pursues.
It's no use. What? What is this thing?
What's kind of interesting about this is that no matter which game you played last, there are still questions here. Either, why does this kid have Sora's Keyblade, or why doesn't Roxas remember what the Keyblade is? So, after defeating the creature, Roxas returns the pictures to the group.
Anybody else notice that all the stolen pictures are of Roxas? Wouldn't it be weird if the thief wanted to steal the real Roxas or something?
Yeah. Meanwhile, we see Diz and... let's call him the artist formerly known as Riku, are watching what's going on with Roxas. After some more flashbacks from the first game, we move on to the next day. I am done with the counter. As Roxas goes to meet his friends, he... tries to turn his stick into the Keyblade, I guess?
What was that about? Oh.
Anyway, the kids decide that they want to go to the beach, so they run around getting odd jobs so that they can afford it. This results in a few mini-games that range from kinda fun to teeth-grindingly tedious. While the game says that you need 800 money, you can show up with absolutely none, or a maximum of 2,000. If you hit the main goal, you get +1 AP, and if you hit the max, you'll be rewarded with +2. But regardless of how much you raise, Olette will claim that you guys have made 5,000 money. Somehow.
Whoa!
Karma's a bitch, ain't it? Afterward, when the kids try to pay for their train tickets, Roxas notices that the money is gone, and suspects that the guy who helped him up took it. However, the others seem to have no idea what he's talking about. Mr. Roxas, I'm afraid such a man does not exist. I fear you must have imagined him. And thus begins Roxas's downward spiral into doubting his own sanity.
Is it really that hard to make a beach?
You, sir, have no idea how programming works. The next day...
Huh?
I guess Naminé likes to watch Roxas sleep. Speaking of Naminé, she puts the world on pause to have a quick conversation with Roxas. Of course, Roxas is curious as to what the hell just happened, but he doesn't get very far before he and Cypher's gang get attacked again. Then, for reasons I can't even begin to speculate, Roxas finds himself in the Station of Awakening. Here you need to make a choice similar to that of the first game, except this time you don't have to give anything up. You then have to fight your way through waves of enemies, including our dark side for this game, the Twilight Thorn. Unlike Darkseid, however, Twilight Thorn is actually kind of fun. The main idea for this battle is to teach the player about the new reaction commands in the context of battle, leading to the first of many spectacular battle animations. Afterwards, Roxas wakes up back in town, and his friends seem to think that he was spending the day with Cypher. The next day is the Struggle Tournament. Struggle is a lot more fun than the job minigames. The object is to beat the shit out of your opponents to make them drop their orbs. Whoever can collect all the orbs, or whoever has the most on them by the end of the time limit, wins. Also, story-wise, knocking out your opponent also results in a victory, though gameplay-wise, it just gives you a slight advantage. The first bout is against Hayner, who seems to have already forgiven Roxas. Granted, he had no real reason to be pissed anyway, but still. Before your next match, Cypher goes up against Vivi, and gets his ass handed to him. The thing that I love about this, watching Vivi fight is kind of like watching Yoda fight. Anyway, as you might guess, Vivi is your next match. After beating him, more white creatures appear, and Roxas has to fight him off with the Keyblade. Afterwards, who else should appear but the fangirl fave, Axel.
Man, oh man. Even the Dusks aren't gonna crack this one.
Did you really think they could?
You're coming with me, conscious or not. Then you'll hear the story.
I would say that that would make Axel a bad friend, but a lot of my best friends would do the same.
What's going on?
Fun fact, this is the exact moment where every fan who didn't play Chain of Memories asked the exact same question. After fighting Axel, Diz appears to try to get Roxas to ignore him, but that doesn't go so well.
Roxas! Roxas! Roxas!
I think Roxas is gonna be sick.
Hayner! Pence! Olette!
That worked?
Huh? How did I get here?
Man, I had way too many chocobo cocktails last night.
And so we're just gonna move on like nothing happened. Anyway, the final match is against Setzer.
Hey, Rucksack. How about you throw the match for me? Let me win, and I'll make it worth your while.
Okay, I've only played enough of 6 to see Setzer for like 5 minutes, but I'm pretty sure he was more honorable than this. After Roxas wins, the kids go up to the clock tower to celebrate. I've said it before, and I'll say it as many times as I need to. This is why you shouldn't be hanging out up there! Meanwhile, we cut to Destiny Islands where Kairi and Selphie are just getting out of school. And for some reason, I find the fact that they have school at all very odd.
Hey, do you feel like going out to the island? Hatters and Rock are all wrapped up in their ball game, and they won't go with me.
Is it Blitzball, perhaps? No, seriously, I'm asking. I feel like we need this kind of world building. Well, we have more important matters to deal with, like the fact that Kairi doesn't remember Sora, and that she suddenly has a psychic link to Roxas. What?
You don't remember my name? Thanks a lot, Kairi.
Oh, like you're one to talk! After whatever the hell just happened, Kairi runs down to the beach to send a letter in a bottle, in hopes that it will reach Sora. Probably will go about as well as the raft idea.
This letter is where it starts, I know it.
More like where it ends.
So, what happened?
Oh, this ought to be good.
Namine's encounter with Roxas put his heart in contact with Kairi's. And that in turn affected Sora. You see?
Do you see?
No!
Do you see?
So, having connected hearts lets you communicate across worlds.
But first, perhaps you could tell me your true name. It's Ansem.
Having played this game before 358, this was a huge twist. Now it's just depressing. The next day, the kids need to work on their summer homework. A pox on all teachers who assign homework over the summer! I know Japan has different customs when it comes to this stuff, but my point still stands! So they decide to write their group essay on a local myth known as the 7 Wonders of Twilight Town. And thus we go to the other side of town to partake in a series of annoying mini games, including Dodgeball, Fighting with Yourself, VV Mageddon, and the world's strongest Border Collie. Eventually, they go to see about the legend of the Ghost Train. Roxas sees it and wants to get a better look.
Let's go in.
Roxas, are you trying to initiate a horror movie? After that goes nowhere, Roxas wants to check out the supposed 7th Wonder, despite everyone's objections.
It's at that haunted mansion.
I think I speak for every Disney fan who's ever played this game when I say how disappointed I am that the haunted mansion isn't this. Upon checking it out, Roxas ends up having a conversation with Naminé.
You know these 3, don't you?
Yeah. Sora, Donald, and Goofy.
Hey kids, you want a drinking game that'll have you freaking dead? Take a shot every time that Sora, Donald, and Goofy's names are said together. Long and short of this, Roxas needs to return to Sora. Later...
Are the holes in your memory starting to fill in?
There are a lot of unanswered questions in this series, and yet, the one that I want to know most is what the hell happened in this room? The next day when Roxas tries to see his friends, they don't seem to register his presence. It is then that Axel shows up to take Roxas back.
We're best friends, right?
Sure, but I'm not getting turned into a dusk for... Wait a sec. You remember now?
Yeah.
Great! But, you know, gotta make sure and all, so, what's our boss's name?
And thus the reason that we groan at the beginning of 358. After fighting off more creatures, time pauses yet again, and Diz calls Roxas to the mansion.
Painter! Pence! Olette!
Well, it worked last time. Upon arrival...
Don't call me and then lock me out.
If only you had some sort of magic key! Well, Roxas does figure it out, and he gets inside. After exploring the mansion for a bit, and Naminé telling him about the nature of his existence, or non-existence, not really sure, Roxas finds the lab that we've been seeing, and fully gets his memories back. Naturally, he's a bit pissed. I think you got it! Who says hitting the computer doesn't help anything? After one more wave of enemies, it's a final showdown between Axel and Roxas. But this time, Roxas is fully powered up and with both his Keyblades. What's great about this fight is that, as great as it is, it serves as just an appetizer for the boss fights to come. After one more encounter with Diz, Roxas finally finds Sora.
You're lucky. Looks like my summer vacation is over.
I'm not crying. And, after about 3 hours of gameplay, we finally get the fucking title! Yep, all of that was the freaking prologue! And I have mixed feelings. First time through, this prologue is great. Pretty much everything serves to prepare you for what the rest of the game has in store. And no matter which game was your last, there is a sense of mystery that drives you through the plot. If you come here straight from KH1 or Chain of Memories, there are questions like, who is this Roxas kid? Why does he have the Keyblade? What's his connection to Sora? And even if you're a newer fan coming from 358, you got questions like, what is Roxas doing in Twilight Town? And why doesn't he remember the organization? Problem is, those questions can only drive you forward during your first playthrough. Once you know what you're doing gameplay-wise and have all the answers you need, this first 3 hours is really boring. In my opinion, things don't really get entertaining again until the final fight with Axel. Overall, the prologue is great for first-timers, but not so much for repeat playthroughs. Tune in next time as Sora awakens.